Hello, everybody. I'm going to tell you a delightful story.
Now, I want you to make yourselves comfortable and settle back.
Now, are you all ready? Here we go.
Let's keep it short. Never Say Die is widely regarded as Black Sabbath's worst album, and worse still, as a bad album. Period. This is a widely held view in rock criticism, an established fact, a refrain that there seems to be no reason to oppose anymore. Without wanting to completely go against the accepted dogma, I will attempt to bring some nuance to this rather terse assessment. One undeniable fact is that Never Say Die is the work of a band in distress, burdened by the machination of a nefarious management and pursued by the tax collection service. Tony Iommi and his band of misfits are forced into tax exile, relocating to Toronto in 1978 in the midst of a Canadian winter. The Sounds Interchange Studios had been recommended to the guitarist by some industry professional who notably argued that the Stones themselves had recorded there. Unfortunately, upon arriving at the studio, Iommi can only observe the catastrophic acoustic conditions. Despite his effort to tear the wallpaper off the walls to achieve a more vibrant sound, nothing works. And this is just the beginning of the troubles. Then Ozzy fails to participate in the initial recording of the album. Devastated by the recent death of his father, the heavy rock troublemaker, completely ravaged by alcohol, tries to distance himself from Sabbath and launch a solo career under the influence of the overpowering Sharon Arden, future Mrs. Osbourne. But at the time, it doesn't take off. In the meantime, Tony Iommi hires Dave Walker, a friend from Birmingham and former singer with Fleetwood Mac, to work on the album and join the band full-time in place of Ozzy. A few songs are written and recorded with him when suddenly, in a twist of fate, Osbourne decides to return, and Walker is fired overnight, while the unruly Ozzy refuses to sing the already written lyrics. In short, after 2 months of work, everything has to start over. Never Say Die. that time, Black Sabbath is literally plagued by drugs and alcohol. Ward is already a severe alcoholic, Iommi consumes gigantic amounts of cocaine, and the four band members smoke joint after joint continuously throughout the recording. The result is a group that suffers from inspiration failures, difficulties concentrating, and recurring mental weakness, even as the frontman's involvement is reduced to its simplest expression, singing occasionally and only when it suits him. On top of that, the winter is freezing, even polar. There's no way to step outside, and the band's life is thus reduced to its simplest form: studio, supermarket, hotel room. This situation does not help a drained band for whom each day in the studio is horrifically expensive and who is desperate to wrap up this artistic, human, and financial ordeal as quickly as possible, regardless of the final result. The end justifies the means, so Iommi decides to rent an abandoned cinema where the band can meet during the day to try to quickly create some usable material so as not to spend too long in the costly studio. The evenings are dedicated to recording the day's ideas, focusing on the essentials, and too bad if the whole lacks coherence. The result is a fundamentally imperfect album, not very flattering sonically, sometimes rushed, and above all, exhibiting significant stylistic heterogeneity. At this point in the analysis, one can better understand the criticisms that rained down upon the release of the album, even though Black Sabbath never enjoyed praise from the press during their heyday anyway. Additionally, the four long-haired musicians have retrospectively had very harsh words regarding this album. Ozzy: "It's the worst album I've been involved with. I'm ashamed of it. I find it disgusting." Iommi: "I get no pleasure from listening to it. I acknowledge that there are a few good ideas, but it's such a mess in the songs. Hard road." The result takes the form of a chaotic, heterogeneous, and clumsy album that one could even describe as weird, without further ado. Not fundamentally failed, not exactly successful, but constantly navigating between two extremes, juxtaposing the most lamentable passages with real strokes of genius. In reality, no track on this album is entirely satisfying from start to finish, with one exception, which we will come back to. And it's perhaps this grievance that appears to be the most consequential because, whatever one might think of this record, one can reasonably assume that Sabbath did not stray too far from their subject matter. This is especially relevant considering that, once again, after the atypical and almost experimental technical ecstasy, Iommi refused to stick to the Sabbath mold that had been diligently forged since 1969. Consequently, those who only swear by the metal side of the band did not hesitate to express their disdain for this album upon its release, and they continue to do so, with joyful fervor, this narrow-mindedness being a recurring issue in the metal sphere in general. But let's move on. As for the others, they would be wrong to turn their back on this final effort from the founding quartet, for despite its disorganized mess and a decidedly dull overall sound, it can be listened to without displeasure. Let's talk about the most convincing tracks. A Hard Road shines with a certain Sabbath classicism, even if it lacks particular genius, and one would easily prefer the dense Shockwave that follows it. Massive, gutsy, and built like a Russian tank, but probably a bit too convoluted in its final sections. Shockwave.
There's no reason for you to run. You can't escape the fate of the chosen one. Black moon rising in a blood red sky. This time you realize that you're gonna die. Your
In fact, this is one of Iommi's flaws at a time, always adding layer upon layer on riffs in regular succession when 3 or 4 of them would have been more than enough to wrap things up. Then there's Never Say Die, the first single since Paranoid that pays homage to a certain idea of hard rock, both joyful and aggressive, even if it's far from the quartet's glory days. On the more archetypal heavy metal side, Over to You also delivers and creates a curious contrast between the sharpness of the guitar distortions and the delicate piano rises and falls. A truly interesting choice. Over to You. But the undoubtedly most successful track, which alone makes the discovery of the album worthwhile, is Air Dance. It's hard to believe that Sabbath, usually associated with heavy rock, is the author of such a soft and enchanting piece. A proud, bouncy intro, a gentle ballad graced by a charming Ozzy over a classy synth, a delightfully Fripp-like solo, and grand jazzy flights propelled by a heavy riff, this is a little miracle that's hard to believe, standing in stark contrast to what I expect from Tony Iommi, and it's on this note that we will conclude Air Dance.
She sits in silence in her midnight world with faded pictures of a dancing girl, a distant dreamer of the seas of time, of happy memories dancing through her mind. In days of romance, she was the queen of dance. She danced the night away. And as the seasons turn the days to years, she holds her pictures, hears the silent cheers. The days grow lonely for the dancing queen, and now she dances only in her dreams. In days of romance, she was the queen of dance. She danced the night away,
No, Never Say Die is not an extraordinary album. It must be acknowledged. But through its atypical nature, its meanderings, its oddities and its clumsiness, it's worth much more than the stereotypical albums that followed the completely creative blocked Heaven and Hell, which hindered the guitarist's process. By serving his followers the heavy metal they wanted to hear, nothing more, nothing less, and further choosing the option of a well-filled bank account from a career running on autopilot, Iommi turned his back on any idea of evolution and maturation that the more substantial technical ecstasy and this cursed opus hinted at, an anticipated failure that hastened Osborne's departure and led to the painful lineup changes that followed. Between Il Castafiore, Ronnie Dio, and Ian Gillan's loss of voice, to speak only of the frontman, continuing this biography would resemble a path of suffering that I refuse to tread. So, see you soon for more musical stories. Have fun, listen to good music, take care. Ciao a tutti.